Yoel Har-Even, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. You're on a visit here in Norway and you're the Vice President of Global Affairs in Sheba Medical Hospital.
Correct.
Welcome to Norway.
Thank you very much. First time.
We were just talking here just before we went hot mics about your grandfather and your last name. It was such an interesting story. Please tell it for our listeners as well.
So my grandparents arrived after the Holocaust in 1946 to Israel as refugees, the young couples, and quite immediate after they arrived, my grandfather was drafted to the young pre-IDF service at Israel. And at one point, he told me that he had a chance to meet Ben-Gurion because Ben-Gurion came to look for new candidates to be officers in the new service. And when he interviewed him, he asked him about his family name because Ben-Gurion hated diaspora names, and he switched and turned every diaspora name that he can into a Hebrew name. So when my grandfather told him that the name is Steinberg, he said, no, you cannot be an officer with a name of Steinberg. You need to switch it. And my grandfather refused because he told him, with all the respect, I'm the only Steinberg that left from my family after the Holocaust. There is no chance that I'm switching my name.
Why didn't he like diaspora names?
He tried to build a narrative of the new Israeli. He knew that in order to overcome the Holocaust, he needed to come with a new narrative. And he, as much as he wanted to preserve the memory of the Holocaust, he tried to create a new narrative. And the new narrative is that we are now Israelis. And Israelis cannot carry diaspora names. We live in Zion, we live in Israel. We must use Hebrew names. So he has almost a fetish, I can say, about changing and switching names from the diaspora into Hebrew. And so my grandfather refused, and he said, okay, so you won't be an officer. So, okay, I will be a simple soldier. I will do the same. I will do the same responsibility that I need to do as a soldier, and not as an officer. And only later, when my father entered the army, he asked the permission from my grandfather to translate the name. So my Hebrew name, it's the exact translation of Steinberg from Germany.
Yeah, because Steinberg is stone and mountain.
Stone and mountain, which is Har and Even in Hebrew.
Exactly. Logical way to do it.
Yeah, very simple.
But tell us a little bit about Sheba Medical Hospital. I was actually so lucky to visit your hospital in March of this year. It was such an amazing experience because it's so huge and it's so innovative. I remember we got a guided tour. It's 11,000 employees, and I got to see these technological advancements that you have. I remember seeing this virtual reality stuff that you use to train new medical personnel, that you go into this immersive space, and also to help people who have different conditions. I think also it was PTSD, I think, that you can go in there and get used to your space that you usually go to in your private life or in the store and everything, to remember everything where all kinds of stuff is. Can you tell a little bit about that and about the innovation and everything that's happening?
Sure. So touching base again, the same Ben-Gurion was a visionary man, thought that the War of Independence will take 3 years. And therefore, his idea was that every soldier that we can rehabilitate and bring back to the front line to handle a rifle and to fight the war, it was like diamonds. There were like diamonds, still diamonds. But he had an idea to build and operate a rehabilitation hospital. He turned to a good friend of him, Professor Chaim Sheba, which was the first physician of the Haganah, the pre-IDF militia. And he told him that his next mission in life is to build and operate a rehabilitation hospital in Tel HaShomer neighborhood. At the time, it was very close to the airport, and therefore it was a strategic location to set an hospital. So Chaim Sheba took the mission from Ben-Gurion and built a rehabilitation hospital. it was military hospital, and it got the name number 5, as all military like numbers. So it was number 5, and it was really mainly focused on rehabilitation of soldiers and veterans from the War of Independence. Fortunately enough, the war was ended after 18 months and not after 3 years. And in early 53, Ben-Gurion is switching dramatically the policy of the state of Israel. The young state of Israel, only 5 years old, and already changed the policy. And part of his idea is that the military should not have a separate hospitalization system.
Mm-hmm.
And in early 53, they turn over 12 military hospitals and handle them and give them to the Ministry of Health. And from number 5 military hospital, we became Tel HaShomer Hospital in early 53. And from that point until today, we became the largest and the most comprehensive medical center in Israel and one of the largest in our neighborhood. It's about, you mentioned 11,000 employees, 800 dunams, 7 different hospitals that sit on the same campus under one CEO, one electronic medical record, cover all aspects of life, from acute services, the general hospital, through pediatric, OBGYN, rehabilitation, cardiac, cancer, really covering all aspects of life, treating almost 2 million Israelis on a yearly basis. So it's one-fifth of the population of the state of Israel is moving through our gates on a yearly basis. 25,000 cars enter Sheba every day. So on Israelis, it's a huge footprint for them on their social life, health life, which Sheba stands for. When we came to our position about 10 years ago, we inherited an empire. It was an empire before we came. And our role right now is to bring Sheba and propel Sheba to the next 2 decades. And it's because we inherited an empire, we have the power and the ability to take it to the next journey in life for us, as we envision, mainly in 2 realms. One of them you mentioned, it's the innovation. Look, Israel growth rate, it's about 2% a year. And it's an addition to the length of life, longevity of life, on birth and upon living. So it's one of the highest growth ratio in the OECD countries. We know exactly how many Israelis are going to live on the same land 10 years from now. It's more than 20% more Israelis, and it's without new immigrants. It's just the natural growth of the population. We figure it out that in order to stay in the same place that we are now, 10 years from now, we need 25% more of resources just to keep the pace of the growth, right? No one is going to give us 25% more beds, more nurses, more physicians. We are lacking physicians and nurses today, not 10 years from now, today. Israel is not manufactured enough, and those who came from Russia retired, so we are leaking physicians. So for us, the only chance to cope with the next generation advantage and challenges, it's not with the same current tools that we use today. Today, to solve a problem, you bring another MRI. Today, to solve a problem, you build another department. But that cannot be the tool for the future. We need to think out of the box for Israel.
And I remember when I visited the hospital, I talked to some doctors there, and I was asking, because I was so impressed with all the technological advancements and all the innovation, I said, how come you are so innovative here compared to other hospitals? What's the key difference? And he said, because we encourage innovation. When a doctor or some staff has an idea, we go and say, hey, that's a good idea. Let's try it out. Instead of shutting it down and saying, no, that's not how we're doing things.
But let's talk about maybe even prayer and need. You know, there is a very, very famous book called Startup Nation.
Yeah.
And one of the people that was interviewed for the book was Shimon Peres, our late president. And when Paul Singer asked him, tell me the secret sauce that you put to the food that make you so innovative, Shimon Peres told him a very, very simple fact, a true fact, but a very simple one. And he told him, Paul, we don't have any other choice. We're in an island at the end of the day, and we have no other choice rather to innovate, because we have nothing. Sand and camels, we used to say.
Yeah.
So we have only our brain. And the startup mentality that was bubbled and propelled, I think, in the last 30 years, most of it can be related to what the army is doing. And and we can talk about a few samples of innovative endeavors that became already unicorns, that originally is coming from army technology. So for us, as I explained to you, there is no other choice, because no one is going to give us more physicians. No one is going to give us more MRI machines in the future. No one is going to build more buildings in the future. We need to think differently. And for us, think differently is early adopt, fast adopt technology, and predominantly AI technology.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some examples. So, like some state-of-the-art stuff that you're doing and that's unique to
I will be
Sheba.
happy. I will be happy. Let's talk about ASAP. ASAP, it's a brilliant idea that, again, coming from a unit in the army. I cannot mention the name, but it's one of the intelligence units. And two guys who used to serve in this unit used to compare and analyze satellite pictures from the same place, different time, that been took by a satellite, and to compare and to see if there is changes over the infrastructure interface that they can predict what's going on below surface. They released from the army, they took the algorithm with them. And they figure out what we can do to help humanity with this algorithm. At the end of the day, it's comparing pixel to pixel. Someone told them that in healthcare, we use a lot of pictures, a lot of movies, all CT scans, all X-rays, all MRI. At the end of the day, it's pixel. Some of them, it's a clip, like a movie, and some of them, it's just a picture, like CT and MRI and X-ray. It's a picture that combined from small millipixels, and then you get the picture. So they turned to a physician at Sheba and asked him, what can we do with this algorithm? And through this idea, he gave them a couple of hundred of thousands of CT of the brain. Some of them are good, some of them are stroke. And after a few months, they turned over the algorithm from a military use into a civilian from the medical use, and built an algorithm that can detect stroke before the human eye can detect stroke.
Impressive.
They became a unicorn, and they didn't went to the IPO still. So just collect the money from the round of investment. They're almost a unicorn. Now being operated in thousands of hospitals all around the globe.
Wow. Can you explain what a unicorn is?
Unicorn is a company that's going to reach $1 billion without going to an IPO, without going to the market, to the share market, without diluted to the public. So when a company got rounds on investments that equals $1 billion, they can call themselves a unicorn.
Yeah. Let's do three more examples as well.
Yeah. So that was ADOC. Let's talk about ASAP. Same idea. Brilliant guys that coming from a technology unit in intelligence, learned the machine at Sheba. They came with the idea from the army, went to the cardiologist people and trained the machine. The echo machine, it's at the end of the day, it's an ultrasound. When you do an echo stress or regular echo, which tell about the functionality of, not the electric, the ECG, but you want to learn about the functionality of the heart, the doctor can ask you to go for an echo test. And what they came is that they have an AI solution that can interpretate in a few seconds the findings of the echo test and give you an analysis for 10 most critical conditions of the heart after a few seconds. And you don't need to be cardiologist. It can be a nurse, it can be a technician, and it can be operated in a tent in the Sahara. We just need an internet because it's upload and download from the cloud, but it can be operated anywhere on Earth that have an internet connection.
Amazing.
So you just need to have it's a small device. It's a tablet that attached to a small transducer of ultrasound and can be operated in every remote ER or doctor office in faraway Norway or in Australia. You don't need to order and ask and wait to cardiologist to order a test. If you have a suspicion that your patient is suffering from the heart, you can do it yourself. And then quite quickly you get the results. And again, this is the way we think that technology will help us to fulfill the gaps. We do believe, because there are some concerns that I'm hearing about, you want to replace physicians, especially from the guild. The physicians guild are too, rigid, too concerned. I think right now there is no intention to replace physicians. I think what technology will allow physicians is to spend more time listening to their patients, talk to their eyes and not to the computer.
Yeah, do what a human can do.
Show show empathy, sympathy, listen. Let the technology replace what can be replaced.
So you get a synergy between man and machine.
Actually, we start to train new physicians because we believe that the new physicians, it's a totally different subject and occupation as physicians are trained today. Because even now, today, in some cases, the patient can be more acknowledge and more clever on their disease than their doctor. Because of AI, because of the technology, because everything is out there, sometimes you can be more educated and more knowledge on your situation than your own physician. So physicians should not take it as an offensive. This is life. They need to change. We need to change. We need to change the way we train our physician. We need to change the way we educate our physicians. And we need to be focused and allowing them to show more sympathy, empathy, to touch their patient, to talk to their patient, and not to analyze. Because analyze, the computer can do it faster, safer from us. Just look about our obligation. The human eye has some obligations. We cannot see all the spectrum of colors. Dogs can see better than us.
Yeah.
Dogs can smell better than us.
Speaking of dogs, you have a dog at the Sheba Medical
several ones.
Yeah, let's talk about
you
that.
You met the eldest one.
Yeah,
it's Sheba.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he really is. Talk about why do you have dogs at the hospital?
Look, it's already proven that humans react differently to two kinds of animals. First is dog. Can you imagine what is the second animal that we react differently?
I don't know, cats?
No. Horses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably related to the fact that our grandparents used to live with them in the cave.
Yeah.
And they develop a very good relations. So usually people say, my dog can feel me, can feel my mood. So actually, yes, but not. It cannot feel your mood. It can smell your mood. Because a different mood, different state of mind, the human brain secretes different hormones. And different hormones have different smell. You and I cannot tell the difference. Dogs can, and horses can. So therefore, they react to the smell that your body is producing, not really to your mood. And then they can act toward this smell. If you are in a moody situation, they will try to cheer you up. If you're happy, they will be happy. If you're concerned, they will be concerned. But it's because of the smell. It's not because of they can read your reaction, okay? And therefore, we understand that human beings reacting differently to the situation that animal is involved, and especially dogs. And in many, many cases, we show that, especially with rehabilitation, when you ask a soldier or a civilian to do a simple project or to do a simple task, it will be very, very difficult to do that. But if you ask him to do the same thing to the dog or with the dog, he will do it happily. So we start to use dogs as a service dogs to encourage patients to go through rehabilitation, to support patients, now soldiers, because we are treating 70% of the rehabilitation soldiers at Sheba. Through the last 2 years, we use a lot of dogs to support our soldiers, but also we adopted dogs, small dogs. You saw the big one. We adopted small dogs in the pediatric hospital because they need to be smaller because of the kids, but also amazing job that the dogs are doing, mainly with rehabilitation and mainly to calm down in terrible situation, in before operation, after operation, where the stress level are very high. They played a major role to calm down and relax.
Speaking of a terrible situation, after the 7th of October, I understand that your hospital was one of the main hospitals to treat people, and I got to see the visiting room where you had all these scenes on video of people meeting again their loved ones at your hospital. What was this situation like for you, and to treat these patients and being a hospital? How did you adapt to that situation after the 7th of October?
So you're talking about the hostages. We will talk about hostages later, but let's first talk about the soldiers. So from the on regular conflicts, if you look upon the history, the casualty rate is going gradually. As the war is developed, you see more and more casualties. So it's go gradually. Here, over October 7th, we had already 5,000 casualties in 1.5 days. That puts a lot of burden on Israeli hospital, predominantly those who are related and close to the Gaza envelope with Ashkelon and Beersheba, and then as a secondary evacuation to Sheba. We are fortunate enough that our staff, I would say, resilient, immune, act differently. And it's really, I'm talking about Sheba right now, but really it's the testimonial of all Israeli hospitals that really went under the stretcher with no argument and really was very, very fast, adopting, moving, transforming services in order to accept more and more soldiers, because that's what we need to do. At the beginning of the war, my CEO, Professor Kreis, put us under 2 oaths. He said, guys, there is no answer is no, meaning every soldier, every family that asks to be admitted to Sheba, the answer is automatically yes. Then fight with me about beds, then talk to me about stuff, but first say yes. That immediate action was translated very immediately to increasing number of beds. Just let's talk about the rehabilitation department. On routine time, the rehabilitation department at Sheba usually accommodate 40 people. This is the standard number for Sheba. It's the largest one in Israel. 40 beds of rehabilitation. I mean, I'm talking about orthopedic rehabilitation. We found ourselves in December 23 with 142 beds. So try to go to one of the Norwegian hospitals. Ask them to not double the size, almost triple the size of any department with no resources. They will throw you from the window, right? Give me the nurses, give me the funds, give me the beds. In Israel and at Sheba, this is not the situation, because everyone understands that this is the moment, this is the time that we need to stand and show up. So you asked me how you did it, how you triple the amount of. So some simple things and some innovative things. Simple things is to stop vacations. Listen, it's 11,000 people staff, few thousand nurses, 1,700 physicians. Stop vacation. Because usually on a regular time, a percentage of the staff is on vacation. Especially when it happened after the Jewish holidays. So during the Jewish holidays, a lot of the staff were outside. Call everyone in. Stop vacation. Call your physician that went abroad to be trained. Come back. Please come back.
Did you also get physicians back from retirement, perhaps? Like
retirement. Volunteers came to work with us from all over the world.
Military doctors.
Military. We didn't touch military. We pay our contribution to the army because a lot of our people are on reserve. So about 300 people from Sheba went with their duty on reserve. But we called people for maternity. Please come. And they came. Stop maternity and come. Volunteers from abroad. We changed the shift from 3 shifts a day to 2 shifts a day, 12 hours. And in this, that's what helped us regarding the personnel. Regarding the capacity, the facility, we evacuate. At the time, remember, there's still sirens every few hours in Israel. We evacuate the upper floor of the pediatric rehabilitation, geriatric rehabilitation. We move them to the shelters. Because for them to move and to run to the shelter after a hip replacement, if you are 80 years old, quite complicated. So in the first few months, we prefer to put them in a safe place. And therefore, we have a completely full store of 100 beds that was empty.
I remember also while speaking on this, I think I saw some news reports about in Israel making like an underground hospital with everything underground so that you didn't have to evacuate all the time in case of catastrophes and emergencies.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that mainly got, a boost, a push during COVID. When we didn't stop, some of the hospitals in the States, and I've heard also here, was very, very dedicated only to COVID. And they stopped regular services. And mainly in the States, I know that people died from simple things like pneumonia or stroke because the hospital was shut down only treating COVID. We make a decision that we will continue with our life. And we will divide the hospital into 2 areas. Below ground, mainly in our parking lot that we converted to fully ICU units, we will treat COVID patients. And above ground, life will continue. Delivery will continue. Operations will continue. Of course, we check them for COVID. And then if it's okay, we continue operates.
But it's great probably to have that in case of emergencies or rocket sirens and missiles, because then you don't have to evacuate those places because they're underground already. Or do you also have to evacuate from there?
No, we don't need to because it's down. It's -6, -7. It's pretty safe, I will say, and that's exactly what we did in the last conflict. Couple of months ago when the missiles from Iran came and they carried an explosive that we until now didn't met. So when we dealt with Hezbollah and Hamas missiles, they usually carry 80, 100, 120 kilogram of explosive. That's what, the order was to evacuate the upper floors. That's enough. Because the power of the missile to go through the roof and go to 2 floors down, it's not something that we get across with. But now when they use a new ammunition, 600, 700 kilo of explosive, no one is safe. So you need to evacuate the whole building down to the basements. And we were happy and lucky enough that we prepared those basements before in COVID time and during the conflict, which for us was to operate them within hours. So very quickly adopt because all the equipment is already there. And I don't know if you saw that all the pipes, all the electricity, So usually when you go into a parking lot, no one is putting an air condition in a parking lot. Why? You need the car does not need the heat or to chill themselves. But if you understand that in wartime you evacuate the cars and create a medical department in this underground parking lots, you need an air condition, you need electricity, you need water, you need sewage, you need sockets of electricity, because usually electricity in hospitals come from different resources, which in parking lot the car doesn't care.
So this is like an added pressure and added stress that doctors in other countries don't have. Is like you have to be in a hospital and operate and do your job, knowing that at any point in time there could be like a Houthi missile or something from Hamas or something from Iran flying in, targeting your hospital.
Yes, and I think this is what part of the alert that our staff is always under alert, and this is exactly what we are trying now to bring here to the Nordic countries and predominantly to Norway, to try to help as much as we can changing the way of thinking, because you didn't suffer from wars here since the Second War ended almost 80 years. There is a chance that you will find yourself very soon in a conflict that you are not prepared for. And I think there is unwritten, I call it unwritten contract between population, between civilians and health services, which says that we will pay our taxes, but you will do your share, meaning you will be there 24/7 for us in any situation.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about why are you here in Norway? What is your mission here now?
So I think mainly two things that brought us here. One is that from unknown reason, which I don't know why, Sheba ignored in the past the Nordic countries. And by saying ignore, we didn't develop enough relations between physicians, between researchers, between institutions. And therefore, I want to fix it. In a way, I want to create more solid, sustained relations between physicians, between researchers, between Sheba as the leading hospital in Israel and the leading hospital here in Norway. So this is the first mission. And through telling the story of Sheba, as I mentioned previously, it's the story of the state of Israel. You cannot separate the story of Sheba from the story of the state of Israel. In the past, in the current, and in the future, we goes hand in hand with the story of the recreation, the establishment, the innovation, the conflicts. So it goes together. The second mission, as I mentioned before, I think we can help change the paradigm, change the way healthcare decision makers and hospital managers and staff think about their role, turning from routine to crisis. And crisis can be a war, but crisis can be also, mass casualty event or earthquake. Although Norway it's not in a pandemic area for earthquake, but it's the same methods, it's the same routine, the same procedures that allow you to be prepared for one and to another. And mainly, I think, the work that we need to do with the staff. I don't like the word immunized, because I don't think when you are talking about the people's soul, there is an immune system that can immunize immunized. It's coming from antipathogen and virus and whatever. When you come to talk about the human brain, the human soul, I'm not sure that immunized is the right term to use. But anyway, you can be prepared. Your staff can be much more, as our staff can be always much more ready and prepare, because it's a different set of skills that you need to use. Your brain is working differently under crisis. Different set of hormones, cortisol and adrenaline are not usually hormones that the human body is using on a regular routine, safe environment. So you need to understand that. You need to understand your obligations. You need to know your strength, and you need to enhance as a management the opportunity for your workers, especially physicians and nurses, because at the end of the day, they choose to be nurses and physicians, but they are part of the population. You cannot separate their beliefs, their feelings, just because they are physicians and nurses. They don't have feelings. They have feelings, they have threats, they have concerns, they have kids home. They have old parents staying home under attack, and they should leave them to fulfill their mission as a staff member in the hospital. So there is a way to be ready. There is a way to analyze, to be ask all the questions and give some of the answers. Yet we don't have all the answers to all the questions. But I think we have a pathway. We have a way to solve and to help the staff be more resilient. I think maybe the resilience it's the right, not immunized, but resilience to the situation, be more prepared to the situation, and therefore to act differently when it happened.
So what you're talking about is like medicine during crisis or emergencies or wartime or catastrophes, that kind of situations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So this is something that you could envision Norway and Israel cooperating and working together to develop. And what other kinds of things could Israel and Norway work together on, like research and research on new kind of medical treatments? And what could you envision?
I think research will be very, very easy because you have distinguished hospitals and research institution, and we have. But looking into one of the advantages of Norway, it's the size. You will say also maybe disadvantages. Israel is a tiny country. I don't know how many times you can put Israel into Norway, and still you have some place to
Probably
live. But I think one of the advantages that Norway can benefit from the technology is about the rural area. And we discussed in the beginning of our discussion a few tools that you may use in rural areas. I can give you some more examples. Nuvo. It's a brilliant idea, again, an Israeli company that detect and control the fetus heartbeat from the remote. Meaning the pregnant woman can be in every village in the north, while her physician can be in the main city and still be able to monitor the fetal heartbeats from early beginning of pregnancy until delivery.
Amazing.
In Israel, every pregnant woman after the week of 40 need to come to an hospital or a clinic every day for a couple of minutes just to have a fetal monitoring record to see if the baby is okay. I don't know if it's the same situation here, but every female need to stop work, go for a couple of hours, and for a couple of minutes. They develop a system that you can monitor 24/7. She just need to put a belt on her belly, again, connect to the internet, and someone somewhere can watch the baby. So, and more like Pulse and More, which create ultrasound from your iPhone.
Wow.
And then the physician can navigate the pregnant woman how to do an ultrasound for herself. So she can sit home. He can see everything from his office, and she just need to put it on her belly and record.
Amazing.
So rural country, big country that are big gaps in time from passing from one city to one city, can be very helpful from the situation that we develop tools that allow medicine now to be more home-based.
Yeah.
Home-based care. We had telerehabilitation. We are working now with telepsychiatry, allowing psychiatry people stay home instead of full the department with people, because we know that mental hospitalization has its own problems. Let's talk about leave. Leave, it's a brilliant idea coming from a nurse, from Sheba. So you talk how to encourage people. If they have crazy ideas, this is exactly the ecosystem that we created at Sheba, allowing every staff member. It can be the clean lady, or someone who do the auxiliary services. If he has an idea that he thinks that can change his work, is more than welcome to come to present, and then he can get even pre-seed money to go from scratch to planning.
It's amazing.
So she saw that there is a problem right now with the war, that we have a lot of PTSD patients, and we are short with staff. And the situation that we can reach to each one of them, it will take us years. So she said, we need to come with a triage system, but for mental problems. Because usually in a mass casualty event, the physician is doing triage. He sees the casualty and say, okay, this is severe, this is mild, moderate, whatever. But when it comes to a mental disease, you see nothing. So she created an avatar based on AI that you can speak with. So it can be on your computer. She named the avatar Liv, L-I-V, like her daughter. And the avatar is talking to you. But it's not just talking to you. It's referring to what you are saying. And by the patterns of your answers, at the end of the discussion, it can give the psychiatrist full report about your condition. So the idea is not to replace, again, it's not replacing psychiatrists. We are lacking psychiatrists in Israel.
It's a supplement.
But we want, because of the amount of people that now suffer from PTSD in Israel, and the chance that we cannot treat all of them in one time, we need to understand who are the severe cases. So we need to have a triage system for mental people. So usually what happened until now, they used to fill questions, written questions. But now we have a chance to really to speak with the people, to speak with the person, and from the pattern of the answers, analyze who is critically suffer from PTSD.
Is it using AI as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because when you get the answers, you need to go to the AI database. And it was very complicated because all the language models right now are in English. So translate the language model to Hebrew was one of the challenges of the developers of Liv. And now we are adopting Liv for kids. Because kids, it's another issue for maybe to another podcast about the PTSD in Israel and predominantly what kids are suffering. So Liv can be a model that you can adopt also here, because not every remote village or countryside have a chance to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
But if the regional psychiatrist or the municipal psychiatrist have a chance that from the 100%, he will know who is more, who's urgent and who is not, it's a big improve, because then you can put your efforts in the right place.
Yeah. What's it been like to receive and treat all the civilians from October 7th, all of the people who got injured at Nova Festival area and the kibbutzim and also the hostages that were released from October 7th until now?
There are 23 Sheba personnel that was lost family member from first degree. There is no family in Israel that are not infected by that. I can talk about my own family. For my second, I have 4 kids. For my 23rd boy, from his class, 5 people. 3 at the Nova and 2 in the war. So there is no home in Israel that stay out of it. And Sheba as well. 23 of our employees lost first degree member of their family. It's we are not differentiated between soldiers and civilians because at the end of day, they are wounded people. We saw different patterns when we treat the civilians. And the patterns with the civilian, unlike the soldiers, that in the civilians, when they brought us civilians, most of the civilians was hit in their upper limbs. And this is mainly due to the situation that they protect the handle of the safe room from inside, try to stop the terrorists getting into the room. And because if you know the safe rooms in Israel was designed for blasts and not from terror attack. So therefore the handle can be operated from both sides because if there is a blast injury, someone from outside needs to come and rescue. And when the terrorists realize that they can open the door from both sides, the people protect the handle of the door and held it with 2 hands for hours. And when the terrorist shoots through the doors, the first organ that met the violent was the hands. So therefore, we saw a lot of civilians that lost limbs, lost fingers, heavily injured in their upper limbs and in the upper body parts. And soldiers was, all of everything, mainly sniper shootings, hand grenades. This was in the first few days. And then when the war started, it's like a regular casualty that sees in every violent that we didn't see something new. Yes, of course, when you are fighting in Gaza in a very dense population, in a very dense packed streets as the Kasbah, and it's not open like artillery against artillery or tanks against tanks, the pattern of wounding are different a little bit. A lot of blast injuries, a lot of sniper injury bullets. The hostages is a different story. The hostages are, I would say, maybe the highest task that you can ask an hospital to carry. And therefore, when the government told us that the first, second, third, and hopefully all of them rounds will come to Sheba, we need to really stand by the door and stop people to volunteer to this mission. Because I think there is no one, and regardless you probably have a chance to see that the Sheba staff, it's like the population of the state of Israel. It's a mixed staff. We have Druze, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Jews, of course. The staff, it's the reflection of the population of Israel, which is a mixed population. And in healthcare, I think the minorities are finding in healthcare a safe haven, but also a way to become a legitimate member of the society. Usually the army is the pathway, not for minorities, for newcomers, so immigrants to Israel. They found the army as a melting pot to be a legitimate part of the society. Minorities, because not all of them are going to the army, find healthcare as their path to be a productive member of the society. And I must tell you that literally we need to stand by the door, stop people to volunteer for this mission, because everyone wants to volunteer for this mission. We try to keep males out of the equations. We put only female because we didn't know in the first time. We didn't know in the first rounds. We didn't know what's going on. We need to be prepared to every scenario. The worst scenario, such as a nightmare scenario. So we prefer to ask males to be out of the service. So only female physicians, nurses, technicians, dietitians, psychologists, psychiatrists. It was 100%, almost 100% based on a female, on a gender issue. We try to give them, as much as we can, safe and peace environment. Because in the beginning of the first round that we got them, we didn't know what we are getting. We have no idea. So we get a notice maybe 24 hours ahead from the army who is coming, but they didn't know even to tell us about the situation, which now we know they are in a very, very bad shape. We know that they are coming in a very bad shape, those who will come. So therefore, we need to be prepared. And I must tell you that, again, one of the imminent or crucial point is to help your staff to be ready for this mission. When we looked on the history and we tried to find where is the textbook, show us the textbook, how to treat people who came from captivity, how to treat hostages. There is no textbook. No one wrote nothing about holding big numbers of people. You know, from time to time you hear here and there the mafia released someone who after 3 years, 2 years, until Gilad Shalit, no one held people more than 5 years. Even war prisoners came much, much earlier than our hostages. So really, when we looked on the medical textbook, no one wrote how to treat hostages. So we need to create our own textbook. We wrote our own SOPs, standards and procedures. But the most critical and difficult was to train the staff. How you go into a room with Eli Sharabi, telling Eli Sharabi that he lost his family. No one can train the staff to do that. Or if they're coming and asking, where is the missing part of the family? So you know what we did? We had a very big simulation center. We try to simulate all aspects of and train our staff with simulators. Dummies, mannequins, very, very intelligent ones, but also actors. And we use actors mainly for soft skills, bedside manners, interviewing capabilities, listening capabilities. So we train, when we had a notice that hostages is coming, we know exactly the name and who he is. We went to the family. We asked the family, please give us as much details as you can give us on the person who is coming. His clothes, his smell, his pictures, his story. And then we went to the actor that look alike, same age, same gender. And he adopted the figure of the returnee. We don't like to call them hostages. We prefer to call them returnees. Mm-hmm. Those who are returned back, Ashavim. And as an actor, he got into the figure. He learned the figure as he is learning to do Shakespeare. He learned how to act as the person who suspect to come.
Wow, it's amazing.
And then we simulate things again and again and again with our staff in a simulation room. And we typed it. Because we learned from the mistakes. And then we did it again and again and again. And that's what was enabling the staff to be, again, not immunized, but resilient.
Yeah. I'm prepared.
and prepared to the real situation that they are going into a room with a 23 years old who came, lost 2 fingers, or 80 years old lady who her sons are still there. And try to, otherwise you will be paralyzed.
I'm thinking so much about the hostages that are still there almost 2 years after October 7th.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Israel, I visited Edith Ohel, who is the mother of Alon Ohel,
Yes.
who is still there.
Yes.
And I was in her home and I saw the piano where he used to play. And I pray every day that she gets her son back and all the other hostages as well. I remember seeing the video of Eviatar David was digging his own grave in front of Hamas video cameras. It's just, there are no words to describe that kind of environment that they live in and what that has to destroy your psyche, and living down in those tunnels and being filmed while digging your own grave. It's beyond words what they are experiencing.
It is. I had a chance to spend a few days with Eli Sharabi. And if may I use the parallel story, I know it's a big debate and some said you cannot compare it, but the kind of the spirit that I felt from Eli when I talked to him about the future is more, it was very similar when I talked to my grandparents after the Holocaust. They use the same terminations, the same word. Yeah, I know it's uncomparable. Just talking about the human spirit and what he prefer to choose. He choose life as much as they choose life. As much as the young state of Israel choose life. Because it was a very crucial decision that they made, that the past is the past. History is very important, but the future is more important than the history. And that's what creates the state of Israel. This is the story, because we can put ourselves in agony and, for the rest of our life. Some people do. We know some people do. But the vast majority choose life. Choose to create again. And the creation was the state of Israel. So I heard the same expressions, the same wording as I used to talk to my grandparents when I talked to Eli about what he chose in life. Because in his situation, he had all the right to stay in agony and to be, desperate for the rest of his life. But he chose differently. And that's I think that's one of the strengths of the human being, that he can choose whether he want to stay his life in desperate and agony, or he want to do something else in his life, because this is the card that God gave him.
Lately, I saw a video where you spoke about this young girl, Palestinian girl from the West Bank, who I think needed some kind of heart surgery or something. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. And also, I think it's so important that the world knows, and especially Norway knows, that you don't just treat Israeli people, you treat Palestinian people just as much as Israeli citizens.
There are some foreigners who are coming from time to time to Sheba, and I'm showing them, and they said, "Wow, it's the most best kept secret about your hospital. Why you are not telling this story more?" And basically, my reaction, it's upon experience that good news from Israel, you cannot sell papers with good news coming from Israel. But actually, we look upon our neighbors as part of our responsibility. Look, the Jewish people has a purpose in life. That what my belief is that we came here to change. We came here not just to spend our time, earn money, and then move it and pass it to our kids. There are some values that we need also to pass to the next generation. And the values that we try to embrace and enhance is that every human being is a human being, disregards his colors, his beliefs, his gender, his politics way of thinking. It's a human being, and it needs to be treated as a human being with dignity, with respect, and with the best that we can offer. And therefore, for many, many years, we treated Palestinian kids. I say kids because this is the most urgent need of the Palestinian Authority, which they cannot deal right now, because they developed in the last, I would say, 20 years, a very good medical services. They're still lacking a lot of areas. One of them are cancer, and to be more precise, kids with cancer. So therefore, most of the severe cases of the oncology patients are admitted in Israel, and 70% of them are admitted at Sheba. But it's not only the Palestinians. We're now heavily involved with the Druze from the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. They have their brothers in Israel, the Israeli Druze. Some of them are serving and working at Sheba. And we approach the highly represent of the Druze in Israel and maybe the Druze in the area. Sheikh Amin Tarif is the head of the Druze people, and together with him and with the IDF, we found a pathway to bring people from Sweda through a security corridor to the border in Israel, and from the border directly to Sheba. And now we're also treating critical care and patients that cannot be treated in Sweda at Sheba. And kids from the Irbil Kurdish enclave in North Iraq been treated in Israel and at Sheba. So we really want to see it as a safe haven for the overall surrounding countries that willing to cope with that willing to accept that Israel is there not only to fight with them, but also when it comes to the real thing, to take care of their medical situation, we will be there.
Do you treat people from Gaza as well?
If you will ask me the same question on October 6th, I will say yes, absolutely, definitely. Actually, from the overall 100% Palestinian patients that we get, 40% are from Gaza. Unfortunately, now I cannot share the numbers with you because right now there is no way that patient from Gaza can come to Israel. But there are some patients previous from October 6th from Gaza that are still with us at Sheba. The West Bank was open quite often after a few weeks, and so we had people from, as the patient that we're going to speak very soon about, she is from Hebron. We have patients from all over the West Bank and patients with that's staying with us from Gaza from before October 7th. They're still with us.
You talk about this girl that you speak about in the video.
Yeah. Joar is a beautiful 11 years old Palestinian girl that suffers from a very complicated valve disease that actually are they are malfunctioning. They're valves of the heart. As the result of that, she needs to be attached to external corpus, which called Berlin heart. Berlin heart, it's an artificial heart machine that replaced the heart function outside. So she's now moving with a small device on wheels. Two tubes are coming through her belly to the machine. And actually the machine is her heart. And she's already almost 9 months hooked to this machine and move and travel to everywhere with this machine. the end solution for her is heart transplant. There is no other solution. She cannot live with a billion heart for the rest of her life. She need to have an heart transplant. Because she's not an Israeli, she's a Palestinian. Due to the Israeli organ law transplant, she cannot go into the program in Israel. And therefore, we need to find a place for her outside of Israel that are willing to accept her. And we found a place in the States, in my Jewish hospital in Bronx that is willing to accept her and was willing to take her under his responsibility and for a heart donor. But, and there is a big but, the cost of this treatment is $1.5 million. When we asked the Palestinian Authority to pay at least some of it, they said that they have 40 kids like this, and they can do nothing and let her die. We cannot allow Joar to die. You know why? Because as you see in the video, you saw what is the last sentence that she said when we interview her and ask her, Joar, what do you want to be?
Yeah, you want to be a cardiologist.
She wants to be a cardiologist.
Yes.
And only for that dream, she need to live. And therefore, I took the responsibility, and Sheba took the responsibility to allocate the resources, because we cannot take it from our own budget. It means that I'm going to jeopardize Israeli patient, and I'm not going to do that. And therefore, I need to ask people around the globe to open their hearts and open their pockets and help us to help Joar to be sent immediately, because time is running against us, and she need to go as soon as possible to have the surgery and recover from the surgery and then go back to her life.
Have you gotten some donations yet?
We allocated until now $600,000.
That's great.
And we're still missing. We are about half of the way.
Yeah.
But really, time is running against us because she cannot be longer. She needs to go to the transplant within the next few weeks.
I really hope that people can chip in and donate. Can I use that video that you made and put it in this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I can encourage my listeners to donate to this girl.
Absolutely.
Shalom. Behind these doors lie a very sick child in our Lily and Edmond Safra Children's Hospital who could die within weeks without a life-saving heart transplant. It is truly tragic story that can have a potentially happy ending with your heartfelt help. Joar Halil is an 11-year-old Palestinian girl from the West Bank suffering from a severe heart issue. 8 months ago, Sheba's medical staff implemented an artificial heart device as a temporary bridge to a potential heart transplantation. According to the Israeli organ transplant law, and due to the severe organ shortage for transplantation, no donated organ in Israel may be offered to any non-Israeli citizens. Therefore, we cannot list Joar as a candidate for heart transplantation in Israel. But we never gave up hope. Sheba has managed to secure her opportunity for heart transplantation at the renowned Montefiore University Hospital in New York. The cost of the estimated treatment is $1.5 million. Neither the Palestinian Authority nor the Israeli Ministry of Health are unable to underwrite the cost. As you know, Sheba has always offered hope without boundaries to Jews, Muslims, and Christians alike. Without an heart transplant, in the coming weeks, Joar will die, a fate no innocent 11-year-old child should have to face. I am appealing to you today to make a generous donation to your local Friends of Sheba chapter, so that we can offer a new lease on life to Joar, and as a symbol of hope and peace with our neighbors. Thank you so much for your support.
قلب صناعي مؤقت، بس أدخل يصير دكتورة قلب، عمري 11 سنة.
Thank you so much, Yoel. I know you're going to different places after this, so I want to thank you so much for coming here and speaking with me, and for all the great work that you're doing at the Sheba Medical Hospital. You are shining the way and leading the way for the rest of the world to follow.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for your audience. And let's pray for better days.
Indeed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.